Kia ora koutou. Welcome to the National Leading for Wellbeing webinar series. Today Dame Naida is going to open for us with a karakia, so I'll just hand you over to Dame Naida.
Kia ora koutou, hakarongo mai nā i te wākainga. Kia ora. E te kaihanga e te wāhi ngaro, e mihi ana mo te hā o tō koutou oranga, kia kotahi ai o mātou hakaro, i roto i te tū wātea. Kia u ai mātou ki te pono me te tika, i runga i tō ingoa tapu, kia haumi e, kia hui e, tae ki e. Creator and Spirit of life, to the ancient realms of the Creator, thank you for the life we each breathe and help us to be of one mind.
Dame Naida is our Chief Advisor Tikanga Health for Auckland and Matamata DHBs, and is one of our prominent Māori leaders across Aotearoa, whose leadership in Māori wellbeing and equity has spanned over 30 years. Am I right in saying it's your 30-year celebration this year?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Of service in healthcare and a range of iwi, governments and also community organisations. Legacy of Dame Naida. Leadership and impact, to name but a few, include being known as the Kia ora lady from the 1980s, and the importance of Te Reo Māori, and was far-reaching, just nationally and internationally. Your leadership and advocacy for the wellbeing of our Tamariki Māori and Māori women in their whānau, and also all the work you've done in leadership in the health sector around championing appropriate cultural support for our Māori patients and whānau.
Thank you.
And leading the bicultural policy and the tikanga best practice. It's not only been taken up in other DHBs, but also I'm led to believe in private sector organisations as well.
Yeah.
And also in 2018, and in Neo's honours, promoted as Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit for services to Māori and community. Kia ora, so welcome, Naida. What an honour and a privilege. So today's webinar is all about leading for wellbeing, and all about wellbeing through the eyes of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start the conversation. What does wellbeing mean to you?
Well, kia ora everyone out there. Wellbeing to me is the ability for one, in whatever they are doing, whatever we are doing, whether we are being the mother, whether we're being the father, whether we're being a staff member, a doctor, a nurse, a social worker, whatever we are doing, is that we are doing it because we are happy to live in our own skin to be able to do that. We are not living anyone else's life. We are living our own. And that's a sense of well-being of who you are. It's a sense of well-being that you are physically, spiritually, and psychologically intact in yourself. That's what I call well-being.
Yeah, so the well-being, so what I'm hearing is comfortable in yourself, yeah, and who you are in your own skin.
Yeah.
And it's more than just physical, it's spiritual and emotional as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, Vaya, what do you do to keep yourself well?
Well, to keep myself well, I personally own myself, and in that I am a transcendental meditator, as well as I believe sincerely in karakia. And by karakia, I don't mean simply reciting a few words that one's learned from somewhere or someone else. I mean a karakia that you visualize the words that you are saying so that you can be in the moment, in that saying, and in transcendental meditation, you take yourself to a peaceful place in your mind, which at that time also rests your body. So that's a couple of the things that I do. And of course, if my children are well, my grandchildren are well, and my great-grandchildren are well, then I'm well.
Lovely. So it's just not the wellness for yourself, it's the wellness for others that are dear and near to you. So, Faya, just picking up on that, what difference has it made having that approach to wellbeing and self-care?
It's made a great deal of difference to me, and I see that in a lot of the context that I have in the work that I do inside the DHBs and external to the DHBs, where those who are unable to live within their own skin, for those who are unable to cope for whatever reason, and they simply enjoy just sitting down and speaking for a couple of moments, knowing that the person they're speaking to hears them. And so they're able to release some frustration that they may be carrying. And that's so healing to so many people that often we think that we need to look outside ourselves in the first instance, or that we need to look to external agencies in order to find the well-being that we need. It begins from within, not necessarily from without.
Thank you. So, Faya, just picking up that, so it begins within, and actually how your own well-being can also help other people's well-being and support those by just sitting and hearing and connecting and listening. Now, as a leader, quite often, and I've heard this myself, I was having a conversation yesterday within the health service, sometimes it can be quite difficult to know where to start. So if you were a leader and you're looking after well-being and your own well-being, where would we start?
In terms of being a leader, it's the interpretation of the word leader. In my respectful opinion, anyone who makes me a cup of tea is a leader. They are a leader of Manaki. They are a leader in their own right. So it's the interpretation of the word leader. In different areas, when you're in a group of people and you need to take a leadership role, then the first consideration should be to the safety of those in the group that you're in, their safety. And with the safety, it's not only safety of physical, biological, it's also safety of their spiritual, psychological dimensions. It is easier to fix a broken leg, arm, or bone of some sort than it is to try to fix the wound that's left in someone's mind from harsh words, for instance. Sometimes a simple "I'm sorry" doesn't work. There needs to be an action behind the healing process. So leadership takes on many different forms. If it is for yourself, you take leadership in your own well-being, you take leadership in your own exercise, your own everything that you do for yourself, then you only have yourself to think about. But if you're in a leadership role that involves other people, then you need to think of their safety in the first instance, of physical, spiritual, and psychological.
Yeah, so if we were just picking up on that, Faya, if we were looking at what does make it safe, spiritual, psychological, and physical, would you say?
Well, what makes it safe is, in the first instance, the reciprocity. What makes it safe is the smile they give you. What makes it safe is that you are in tune with your own feelings, that what you are doing feels good to you, then it will be good to others.
Thank you. Yeah, so having that self-awareness again and how you are around your own well-being really has an impact.
Absolutely.
Yes. So some of the questions that we've got through one was, when you're not working in a positive environment, how do I maintain my self-care?
Well, if you're working in a negative environment, then there's a thing called gratitude. The first word was working. So if you're working in an environment that's not conducive to your own well-being, then you owe you to ensure that you keep yourself safe in that environment. And so you will decide what is physically safe for you. You will decide what is spiritually safe for you, psychologically safe for you. And if none of the three are in sync, get out of there.
Run for the hill, yeah. So
just get out of there.
Yeah.
And it might not be such an easy thing, because at least you are earning. Then you need to seriously take some steps to try to find somewhere else where you could still be earning with the skills that you have there, and then slowly make the steps out. Because every day that you do damage to your spiritual well-being, you are the only one that will know about it. No one else will care, but you will.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so it will be with you, and it's about what you do and how you find a place that's good for your well-being.
Yeah. And if compliments feel good for you, then give it. Give compliments. Say thank you, and smile. Even when you're not feeling very good, smile, and you will get back what you give. It's as simple as that in some instances, but I realize that there are a lot of people under a lot of pressure from home before we get to work. And then we get to work, and you need to find yourself a confidant that can support you psychologically, support you.
Yeah. So it's like having that friend, isn't it? Yeah, someone that you can support.
And a loyal friend. So, you know, be selective about the loyal friend. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thanks, Faya. We've just had a question from the audience out there. How do you promote positivity in the working area?
Well, the first part of positivity in a work area is to let everyone know that you value them, that you do value their presence, that you acknowledge that there are some challenges they may have in order to have arrived. Like if you're in Auckland, you have to navigate the motorways and traffic of Auckland to get to work. And by the time you get there, all one has to do is show appreciation for the fact that you've made the effort to be in a particular place and you're valued for being there.
Okay, so it's that acknowledgement and recognising that we all have lives outside of work.
Yeah.
And we don't leave that at the door when we come in. It's actually part of who we are, and that's what helps with our greatness and what we bring, and just that we're acknowledged and valued for that.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So I'm just going to go over to Fiona to see if there's any more questions from the audience. No? So I've got one more question here, Faya. If there was one thing we could all do for ourselves and each other, what would it be?
Well, if there was one thing you could all do for yourself in the first instance, is when you are really feeling down, then find yourself a living thing to talk to, i.e. a tree or a plant or something that gives favor to your eyes, and feel a closeness to that living thing. It might be your cat or your dog, or a living tree, flower, plant. And in that connectedness, you connect with the environment, and you connect with a tree, for instance, and throw all your worries to that tree and say, thank you for being here. And today I had a really bad day because blah, blah, blah. And here's all my blah, 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 because I can't really take it home into the house with me because my whānau, my family, do not deserve to carry what I have to carry at work. So here, you hold on to it and free me. And you just simply go to the beach and let everything go in the tide. And on the outgoing tide, it can all go out there and stay out there. Just be mindful, be conscious of where you are at in your moment. Conscious all the time of where you are at in your moment. Because if you're not conscious, I can assure you, someone else is watching. They're conscious of where you're at. So feel valued, then you will give value. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thanks, Fire. There's a lot. It's been a real honour and privilege to hear you talk about wellbeing today, and I'm just going to recap on what I've heard and what I've taken away. So feel free to give me guidance on that if I've missed anything. So just listening to you talk about wellbeing and through your eyes, it's around visualisation and how we visualise wellbeing for ourselves, and that's unique to all of us, and how we practice gratitude. And grateful. And I've heard you say before, any day above the ground.
Any day above the ground is a good day.
Yeah. So it's finding the gratitude for yourself and what works for you. Also, we do have another question that's just come in, so I'll just quickly go to that one. How do we as leaders
promote people's culture?
Promote people's cultures.
Okay, so, you know, promoting one's culture, again, is about value. It's about valuing that person and valuing that person's culture. And in valuing their culture, they in turn would also acknowledge that you too have a culture. And valuing each other as human beings, basically.
Valued. We're all human. We're all part of being human. So that's great. So so valuing each other and what each other brings and adds value. I think that's a really important check-in for us every single day. Know who you are, not just in your own skin, and be comfortable with that. And as we think about well-being, the thing for me to take away is it's the physical, it's the spiritual, it's the emotional side as well, and how that all fits together. Safety, I heard you say how we create safety environments for our people. And actually how we do that is to acknowledge and connect with each other. And I think something that's really stuck with me, and from what you said today, Fire, as well, is how we hear and listen to people as well and connect. And that leadership within for well-being it's about making a cup of tea. And it's the simple, and that's really connecting with who you're with and valuing them. And one thing I take away is actually recognising that when I'm speaking to people that I work with, just recognising for their whole selves and what they're bringing, and acknowledging that it's great that they're here today. Also, I've got a couple of other things here which smile. The importance of smiling.
It is. It really is important, because the smile comes from within. It's not just a crack on your face. Well, it shouldn't be just a crack on your face. the smile comes from within,
Yeah.
and immediately there's a response
Yeah.
to a smile. There's often reaction when there isn't a smile, but
Yeah.
there's a response when there is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So quite simple things that can really keep us well and shows that we support and care for each other
Yeah.
across our workplace and also within the community.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say kia ora and thank you, Naida, for today. We're going to be wrapping up the webinar now. Would you like to close with a karakia?
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll close with the same karakia that we started with.
Fantastic.
Creator and Spirit of life, to the ancient realms of the Creator, thank you for the life we each breathe, to help us be of one mind as we seek to be of service to those in need. Give us the courage to do what is right and help us to always be aware of the need to be fair and transparent in all we do. We ask this in the name of creation and the living earth. Well-being to all. Kia ora.
Kia ora.